I'm brave, even when the fear is staring in my face. Oh, I'm brave.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another Wednesday Night Live. I am excited to be here, and thank you for tuning in with me. So, if you are catching this live, welcome, welcome. If you're watching the replay, welcome, and thank you for joining, and welcome everyone on Instagram and Clubhouse. All right. So, I decided to come back with a part two of Write the Vision because I think it's very important that we understand about the vision that God gives us, and I think a lot of us we get discouraged because the vision may be too big and you think that you can't do what he gave you, so you either put it down, forget about it, put it on the back burner, and you just say, hey, I'm not going to do this because I can't do this, right? You talk yourself out of it. But in those visions is things that he gives you as to how to live, and your purpose, and giving you strategies how to live in walk into your purpose and to live the life that you desire, right? um so it's important that we realize that and we write it down, right? That's the first thing. Well, not necessarily the first thing, but that's one of the steps, right? Is to write it down. But we have to also have to change our mindset, right? And before anything, we have to change our mindset. Like, we do. We have to change the way that we think. We have to unlearn things that were taught to us, things that were said to us. There's a lot of things that we have to change in order for this vision to come to pass, right? So first thing is write it down. No matter how big, how small it may be, just write it down. I'm always talking about journaling. Journaling, I love journaling because you can write and you can go back and you can go look at what you've written. You can see the progress, the growth from what you wrote, from where you were to where you are now. So it's important to write the vision. Just write it. Be very detailed. If it's things that he gave you and showed you a way to live, as far as a house, the car, maybe your purpose, write all these things down, because we're not supposed to be living in poverty. We're not supposed to be in lack. We are not supposed to be just out here struggling paycheck to paycheck. That is not the life that God has for us. We are supposed to be living in abundance, and we're supposed to live in prosperity. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be joyful, right? But we also know that through life, there's things that's going to happen, right? But at the same time, keep the vision at the forefront. The things that he gives you, the visions, when you close your eyes and you can see your house, you can visualize you walking into your house, is reminders. It's a reminder to you to have faith and to hold on. Just like how Habakkuk 2:2, right? Write the vision, make it plain. And it also goes in to say that it may tarry, right? So it may take a while, right? It may take a while depending on our mindset, right? Depending how focused we are and depending on our environment. It depends on a lot of things, right? Because he can give us something so fast, but it's according to, I guess I'm gonna say, posture is according to how we are living our lives. Like, if we go through something, are we gonna sit in there and we're gonna sit in that funk and we're gonna ponder, or are we going to do something about it, right? Are we going to change our situation, or are you gonna sit in that situation? So you have to write the vision, right? Write the vision, make it plain, because the visions that he gives you can't be a reality, but you just have to really believe it, and you have to see it before you physically see it. You have to see it in your mind. You have to visualize yourself living what he's showing you. If it's a new house, again, visualize that house. If it's a new car, visualize that car. If it's a purpose that he called you to, visualize yourself being the person that he called you to be. If you're going to be a speaker, visualize yourself on stage speaking, or on a podcast, or on a TV show. Visualize yourself speaking. You know, everything that he gave you, you got to visualize. You got to feel that thing. You got to feel like is happening for you right now. You know, you have to keep that going, because that's really what can encourage you to keep going. That really can keep you to have faith and to have hope. Like, Dad, this is what God has shown me right now. So it is a possibility that it can be tangible at some point in time, right? And the visions are not to stay in your head, right? As I said, they're reminders of how God wants you to live. So think about that. It's a reminder of what He's showing you that can come to pass, right? But again, it depends on our posture and the things that we do, right? Because the thing is that the things that he show us, it takes time, right? We don't know how we gonna get there, but we know it's possible that it will be tangible. So there's certain things that you may have to go through before you can get to what he's showing you, if that makes sense. um so we have to really change our mindset, and when I say change our mindset, we have to change the way that we think. We really cannot be conformed to this world, right? Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, right? But be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have to change your mind. You really have to change your mind. We grow up because we grow up and we experience trauma, right? We go through these things, right? But it's a part of the journey, right? He allows us to go through these things, right? Let me back up before I get ahead of myself. But so the rest of that scripture of Romans 12:2 also says that you may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God, right? So as we are changing our mindset and we're not conforming to this world, so we are not conforming to what the world may think, right? We are not conforming ourselves to our friends who are trying to talk us out of what God has gave us, because they have no vision, they have no sight, they just can't fathom to see what he gave us. But that's okay, and that's what we got to realize, that's okay, right? Because it wasn't for them, it was for us. So sometimes you may be alone on your journey, and again, that's okay, because sometimes you have to be on it by yourself. It's a matter of, do you trust and do you have faith and do you believe that it will happen, right? So when that scripture says that you may prove what is the good and acceptable and perfect will of God, we let me make sure I'm getting my words right. Or let me just read what I have, because I wrote it out, because sometimes he'll give me something and I can write it out better than actually speaking it or putting the words. So what I wrote, what he gave me was, we are to be a living and walking testimony of who God is, right? Although we may experience trauma, God allow us to go through some things so that he can get the glory, right? Because how many of us know that whatever that you may have experienced or went through in life, that it was God who brought you out of it? Because if it was you, you would have ended up where you were. You probably would have ended up on the streets. You probably would have ended up homeless. You probably would have ended up on drugs. You probably would have been ending up drinking. You probably would have been in more situations than the situation that you was in. So if it was up to you, you wouldn't have got yourself out, because you would have just stayed in that place because it was comfortable, because it's too hard for you to get out of something yourself. But we know that we need God's strength to be able to bring us out through some things, right? So we got to know that when we go through these things, he allow us to go through them, right? Because now when we come and share our testimony, we can then now prove that it was good and acceptable in the perfect will of God, right? Because he let us go through something, but then he took us out of this thing, but then he's also showing it by what the visions that he gave us, how he like how the life that he want us to live, whether it's that house, whether it's that car, whether it's that business, right? So because you went through that thing and then you came and now you relied on God, you changed your mind, you decided to say, you know what, God, I had enough. God, I want to change. God, help. You're pleading to God and you're asking him to change you, right? So now he's getting the glory because now we can really prove to say it was the good and acceptable, right? Perfect will of God, right? And then we also got to remember that everything happens for good, right? So Romans 8:28 also says, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose, right? So now we have to turn around and we have to just surrender ourselves, right? We have to say that, God, you know what? I'm ready. I'm ready for change because I can't do this without you. Because this thing that I'm doing here by myself, my own ways, is only getting me but so far, right? So we know that it all works for our good because at the end of the day, he's going to reward us. He is going to reward us. Although, so when we going through these experiences and these traumas, it don't feel good, right? We don't like how that feel, how it makes us feel, the pain, the hurt, the physical abuse, the mental abuse, the emotional abuse, the verbal abuse, right? We don't like any of those things, right? So we never like that, but we know that God, something better has to come, right? Something better has to come than this situation. Like, God, take me out of this situation. But when we go through these things, right, it builds character. It builds character because now we're stronger. Now we know what to accept, what not to accept. Now we know how to react to certain things and not, respond and not really react. So we build character. We learn certain ways and how to protect ourselves, and also how to what's the word? How to I don't want to say posture because it's not posture, but you just know how to maneuver and move different, to say, right? So everything that you went through in life has a purpose, have a reason. Although you may not feel like that today, there's purpose and there's reason. When you get to that point, God will show you the purpose and the reason. You just probably haven't gotten there yet. But don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on the vision that He gave you. But instead, you come to God and you say, God, I need your help. Because this thing that I'm in, this situation that I'm in, is not doing anything for me. I'm doing this thing by myself, but now is you're surrendering yourself and you're saying, God, I need help. Because you can't manifest the vision, the life that He has for you, if you don't come to Him. You have to come to Him and He has to give you instructions on how to get that thing, because He's going to show it to you, right? And He's going to keep showing it to you. But then you also now have to surrender yourself, right? And you now have to ask Him for the instructions. You now have to ask Him for the strategies on how to get this thing, and He's going to show you, right? So at the end of the day, you still need God. You still need God. And you have to really, just really wholeheartedly just try. I'm telling you, try to change your mindset. It's not going to happen overnight, but you have to really understand that your trauma does not define you. What you've went through doesn't determine your outcome and determine the how you live. It does not. It's a part of the journey. It happened to you, but God can get you out of it. He can restore you. He can get you out of the anxiety and the depression and all of these emotions that you may be feeling and everything that you're going through. Feeling overwhelmed, feeling like there's too much on your plate. But you have to bring it to him. If you want the life that he is showing you up here and you want to see it physically here on earth, you have to really go to him. You have to go to him. You have to rebuild your relationship with him, or you have to build a relationship with him if you never um, gave your life over to Christ. But this is what you have to do. The vision that he gave you up here, you can actually live this thing out. You can. There was a time before the person that I am today that you see me, let me tell you, it was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. Let me tell you. But I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got sick and tired of really just living this life of being miserable, of being angry, of hurt, of just feeling unloved, unworthy. Like I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was feeling sorry for myself, and I said, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And I had to find my way back to God. I had to find my way back to God. Yes, I went to church when I was younger, but I didn't build a relationship with God. But even on my journey today, right, it's different from when I really turned my life back to God. It's different. So now I'm starting to understand a lot more things in regarding to actually building and forming a relationship with God. I'm really understanding that, you know. And y'all, God see everything. He loves y'all. So don't think you got to feel embarrassed like God's not going to love you or he's not going to do it for you because of the life that you live. Like the love of God is like it's really the love, the heart posture that you have. That's what I talked to my friend. It's about our heart posture with God. You know, like really truly loving God. And when I'm saying really truly loving God, I'm like, yes, you're spending time with him. I'm really understanding that now, right? It's spending time with him, praying and reading his word and really understanding his word. Because let me tell you something I've learned. Because let me tell you, before I used to read the Bible with my mind, and when I read it with my mind, I didn't understand what was going on. I couldn't comprehend. I couldn't comprehend it. Just couldn't. It was just going through one ears out the other, and I wasn't retaining anything. But as my walk now is getting deeper, I'm realizing you're really to read the word with your heart, and allow the Holy Spirit to reveal to you what is being said. You don't have to feel like it's like you're in college and you got to write a college paper, so now you're really studying but you're not retaining the information. You're not getting any revelation as to what God is telling you in his word. So find God for yourself, right? Find, build that intimate relationship with him. Speak to him however you speak to him, because we all speak to God differently, right? We all have our own, communications, our own language, and he knows that, right? He knows us, so we don't need to fake the front and put on um this facade and like we're somebody we're not. Just come to him as you are, right? That's what the word said. Come as you are. So come as you are, wherever you're at, in your spiritual walk. Just come as you are and really seek him and just spend some time with him. Just sit there and just allow yourself to spend time with God, because I'm telling you, what he has for you is so much greater and better than what you have for yourself. Seriously. It might not feel like it, but it's so much better. So if you ain't hear nothing else I said tonight, write the vision, make it plain, and go to God. Go to God and tell him, like, listen, God, I'm ready. I can't do this thing no more. And when you do that, he gonna tell you the next step. He's gonna tell you the instructions. And when he tell you the instructions, obey. Okay? Be obedient, obey to his instructions. Okay? Be intentional with seeking him and spending time with him. And then lastly, have faith. Have faith in everything that he's shown you, that he has shown you and given you. Have faith. We have to have faith and we have to believe that he can and he will do it, right? But it's all in his timing, because he's not going to give anything before his timing, because in most cases we have to be ready, and most of the time we're not ready. Talking to myself, okay? Most of the times we are not ready. Mm-mm. Because I wanted a new house, what, 4 years ago maybe. I wanted a new house. I think it was around that time, 4 3 years ago. But if God would have gave me a house, like, guess I had a condo, right? The condo was different than a house. Why? Because the payment was a lot lower. The responsibility was less. So if he would have gave me the house before, now I wouldn't been able to manage that, because I was having real bad issues with my finances. So how is he gonna bless me with a house that has much more greater responsibilities if I'm having trouble with my finances? Like, bad trouble. Like, living with your home, living with mama type of thing, and moving into your own condo. So you went from paying no bills to paying bills, but then you got credit cards, and so you see, because I'm living with my mother. I had all these credit cards, paying my credit cards and everything one time. But God blessed me with the condo, right? But there's certain things that had to happen once I got that condo. I had to leave those credit cards, right? I had to uh sacrifice my credit score, because at this I can't handle the credit cards in my bills, because I wasn't used to paying bills anymore, right? I was living with my mother for a while, so I didn't have to pay light bill, water bill, gas bill, and all these other bills. So let me tell you something. Moving to Florida, there's other expenses besides the HOA. Okay? There's other expenses. Amen. You dropping some seeds, faith, intentionally, and heart posture. Yes. Because that's what it's about. Um, that is what it's about. You have to. But and we also gotta, just understand the timing, because as I said, he wouldn't he wouldn't have gave me that house earlier than what he gave me now, because there's so much other expenses down here in Florida. Yeah, you got the HOA, but it's very minimal. It's real less than up north. But you got to get a water softener if you, because they said where I live, like Tampa area, got bad water. So you either got to get a water softener, so you paying for that. And let me tell you something, they will con you out of everything. Okay, let me tell y'all something. If y'all want to relocate somewhere, just do your research. And I'm not saying I didn't do my research, but there's other little things that you may not know about. Like, I didn't know about Tampa having bad water. That's not something that you really take time to, like, research, like, oh, let me see how their water is in that area, because it's not really talked about as much, right, as certain places that have bad water, you may know, right? So just do your research. That's a little tidbit. But so nothing is he's not going to give us anything before our time. And again, he gives you these visions, right? It's visions to remind you that this is This is for you. You can have this, but there's certain things that you have to go through in order to get that. It may be the certain trauma that you have to go through, right? And then it's maybe the coming out, right? It's the coming out of that trauma, and it's coming to God to say, God, I surrender. I'm here. What do I need to do? And then he's going to show you. He's going to show you the steps and the instructions how to be able to get to that. And then when you get that, you're going to be like, you know what? I had to go through that. Because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be able to understand and value what I have now, or to be the person I am now, or to be able to walk into my purpose or this ministry that I'm doing now. So everything has a purpose, you know. Um he knows everything. And he knows when you coming. So you don't got to feel like, oh, I'm just coming out. No, he knows when you gonna come. He knows. So just be open and transparent and real and honest. But that's all I wanted to really share with you all tonight. So I hope that this message blessed you, because I just want you all to really know that this life, this poverty thing, this is not what God intended. You know, what it is that we go through these traumas, and then we let the trauma overtake us. We let the trauma define who we are, and you should not. The trauma is for you to go through so that when you come to God, He gets the glory, because people are going to look like, well, dang, that's what God did for her. Well, you know what? I want God to do it for me, right? We go through, we hear some people's stories, and you're like, my God, like, wow, God really brought them out, and that's what it is. He just he wants us to give Him the glory, because He's gonna get the glory out of what we've been through. Because I'm telling you, it's more comfortable to stay in a situation, right? But if someone is forcing you out and helping you out, you gonna get out the situation. But it's easier for you to just stay, because let's face it, we don't want to do no work. We don't want to do any work. So that's why you got to cut some things off at the root. I don't know where this is going, but even like what I gave the analogy with the tree, right? When we got to be careful of the seeds that we plant, right? The seeds that we plant, the seeds of doubt, the seeds of fear, the seeds of intimidation, the seeds of um uh, uh, all these other negative seeds, right? We just got to be careful what we plant, because as we continue to let them things grow, it get harder for us to dig it and uproot it, because we don't want to do the work. We don't want to go through the unveiling. We don't want to go through therapy and talk about our problems, our emotions, or we don't want to allow God to change us, because we don't want to stretch. We don't want to feel that, right? It's uncomfortable, right? So you rather just be complacent and stay someplace that's comfortable. So I don't even know where I was going with this, or why I even got on it. But to bring it back is, be careful of the seeds that you plant, because it's going to be harder for you to uproot it. In other words, it's going to be hard for you to get help. So don't sit in your funk too long, where it stink too much, and then you can't even smell your own funk. Pretty much, don't do it. Be able to smell your funk, to say, you know what, I smell bad. It's time for me to go get some help. It's time for me to go help myself up and go take a shower. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. The last two analogies, I don't know where they came from, but I hope you all had a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoyed this message, and I hope you were able to take something from it, and to be able to still have hope, and to believe that the vision that God gave you, even though you can't see it right now, know that it will come to pass. You have to see it before you can see it in the physical, if that makes sense. And don't allow people limitations um to limit you. from your vision because they have a fixed mindset. And no, let me just read exactly how I had it because that thing uh hold on. Okay, don't allow people with a limited mindset to put limitations on you. So don't go around be talking about your vision because they have a fixed mindset and can't see beyond what's in front of them. Okay? So that's what I want to leave with y'all. Don't allow people with a limited mindset put limitations on you. So you guys have a blessed and wonderful night. And I will see you guys February the 22nd because Wednesday night lives are only the first week and the end of the last week of each month. And also for those who are watching on YouTube or on Instagram, and those are who on Clubhouse. If you are not part of the Reclaiming Your Life Facebook group, I highly suggest you to join because the community is great. You can get support. And also, for those who are in the Facebook group, we are having our sip and talk this Saturday at 9 p.m. I will post a flyer in the group as a reminder. So, hope you all can join. All right. So, until Saturday, for those are who in the group, I will see you Saturday who is attending. But if not, I will see you all at the end of this month. So, good night, and I will see you all soon. Bye.